don't care what you say, they come over here. If you leave school at 16 years old and you're not in work at 24 years old, because they come over here and take all the jobs, and my son don't even get the chance to have a job.
If anyone's thinking of voting Ukip, what would you say to them?
I would say, you know, if you want to change the government, then voting Ukip isn't the answer. And just think about the image of this area and having a Ukip MP. I think it's just not what we need. So I'd say think carefully and don't waste your vote.
What do you think about Nigel Farage standing in this area?
I really don't like the fact that he's trying to identify with the working classes and really depend on their votes when he's, wasn't he a businessman in London? He made loads of money. Isn't he just completely the opposite of everything that he's trying to say that he is? I know that a lot of politicians are hypocrites, but I just think when it's such blatant lying, it's just completely, yeah, just really, really rude. Yeah, I'm not very keen on him at all.
I do understand the anger and the resentment that kind of UKIP feeds off, but I think they're completely diverting people away from what the actual causes of that are. Politics of fear.
And what about his policy on immigration?
I just think that we already have really strong policies on immigration, and isn't immigration actually really good for this country? Like, I think it's about just under half of doctors weren't born in this country, and like loads of nurses and stuff. I mean, like the problem is we've got a huge age gap in our generations. There's a lot of really young people, there's a lot of not very young people at all. So the problem is who's going to look after all the older people while all those people are growing up? Who's going to, you know, treat them? Who's going to do all that stuff without young immigrants coming and bringing their skills, which is what they need to do to get into this country?
It doesn't say much for democracy if you're elected as an MEP and on the opening day you're actually showing your contempt for the Parliament by standing with your back to the chair. So who wants that kind of Member of Parliament in the House of Commons?
So many of the things that they seem to stand for and say just seem contrary to what would be best for the people around here.
He's very good at publicity, both internationally and it's because of the Europe angle. But, you know, choosing, I think he's made a mistake in choosing Thanet. Thanet South is the place where he wants to do it. And I think, you know, the fight is on to stop it happening.
I'm kind of scared about it. His views, I mean, especially with my family, we're all carers for my mum. She's ill, so we're all caring for her. My dad had to leave his job, and he was sort of very happy with benefits, I guess, the welfare state. So I'm kind of scared about that, and he doesn't really understand that about education for young people. He says stuff about the 11+ and how it's a good thing, but really it just makes people feel like they're not good enough to be in certain schools.
Nigel Farage himself I see more as a political opportunist, someone who's riding a wave of bigotry and hatred to get to power, regardless of what it means. I think if he thought that workers' rights were the way to go, and he thought he could get into power that way, I think he'd happily preach about that instead. Yeah, he's a nasty, divisive little man.
If someone says that they don't want to live next door to Romanians, then that person is obviously a racist.
We already hear reports of some violence over in the Cliftonville area with the Muslim community. And again, you know, it's a tiny minority that are causing that. But I think if he got in, likelihood is there'd be more clashes and more person-on-person violence, which isn't good for anybody. So no, I really, really wouldn't like to see him get in at all.
What would you say to someone who's thinking of voting Ukip?
Maybe Google his policies and think. I mean, you know, just think to yourself: Are you racist? Is that what it is? Do you dislike women? Because if you do those things, then maybe vote for him. But if what you actually think that you want is maybe a system that's a bit fairer on you, which I'm guessing that you're working class, because you know that's who he's aiming for. Maybe sort of look at his background and think it through a bit more.
Encouraging an extreme right-wing surge in all ways is bad. I mean, the previous time it happened, things did not end well. I can't put it any other way, really.
I don't think it's what we need around here at all.
So if anyone's thinking of voting Ukip, what would you say to them?
Research and then don't.